I know you started your journey in a corporate world. Okay,
Yeah.
with good salary, corporate luxury, and the comfort zone and all those 9 to 5 jobs. Saturday, Sunday, you're off. Then have your own life. Okay,
Right.
from that, what you are today, you've given up quite a lot of things, but that was your passion.
I went to my parents and I was like, hey, I don't feel like I have to continue in corporate world, because somewhere I feel my passion is in social sector. So can I move full time?
Okay,
And without any second thought, they said, do what you like.
that's
And
very
probably
nice.
that one, thought of do what you like made my decision quite easy. From June 2006 till date, amazing journey. All the days filled with lot of impact stories and all. So always feel that was the best decision of my life. There was someone who was not even my manager who called me and who said, Prarthana, social sector is not as it looks like. There's a lot of politics there, and maybe tomorrow you just feel ki, why did I take this decision?
What was the best lessons that you've learned from your parents? Because mother, purely from a spiritual background,
They say when you are doing something, your left hand shouldn't know what your right
what you're
hand
doing
is
right hand.
doing.
ಎಡಗೈನಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡೋದನ್ನ ಬಲಗೈನಲ್ಲಿ
Correct.
ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋದು.
So one day I get called from one of my friends, Shankar, who's visually impaired and who has half hands. Okay, now he calls me. He's a very good techie. Now he calls me at night 10:30 and I was like, is everything okay, Shankar? Do you need any help? And he said, ma'am, one of my friend is crying for past 1 hour, and tomorrow he's also blind. Tomorrow morning 9 o'clock is his exam, and the scribe has dropped out. So I said, don't worry, we will find someone. Then he said, ma'am, you are in Bangalore, but this person who needs help is in Bagalkot, which is almost overnight journey. So I said, okay, let's try. Now night 10:30 you have to find a volunteer in Bagalkot who can also speak Kannada. Right, so I said, let me post on my social media. So I posted on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and you won't believe, within 5 minutes I had 3 volunteers from my friend list who responded saying, I am in Bagalkot,
How nice.
right, and I will go and write exam, don't worry. And not just if they have more exam, you just tell me. So we called this person, we said, don't cry, not just tomorrow, you have 5 exams, all your 5 exams are taken care
That's
of.
amazing.
A sudden silence for 10 seconds. And I was like, Chandru, do you need any help? And he said, ma'am, you're Prarthana from Giftable. I said, yeah. Ma'am, you know what? 2 years back, night 10:30, I was crying because I did not have a scribe. You helped me with the scribe. I passed that exam with distinction. And today here I am working in HR department.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Midway Masters. Wishing you all a very happy new year. Firstly, I'm your host Shalini. You are in the space of unlocking the secret of success in the middle of your professional journey. Whether you are climbing the ladders, switching your gears, or sharpening your leadership edge, we are here to equip you with the tools and the insights you need to master your own path. Each episode will sit down with professions who've been there, done that, and are ready to share their game changing strategies which have helped them turn into a masterpiece. So let's get ready, learn, grow, and elevate together. Today's episode, we have an inspiring guest who began her journey in the beautiful city of Dandeli. Okay, parents gave her a lot of values. Father comes with a lot of creativity and has been an author. Mother, being a teacher, brings in a combination of the values and creativity. She has grown as a child with spirituality and more of creativity with a talented parents. Okay, I always believed in, if you don't find your purpose will find you. So she started her journey in a corporate world and then moved into her fulfilling her passion. So let's hear it from her. Hi Prarthana, welcome to the show.
Hi,
I'm
Shalini.
so glad that we have you into today in today's shows.
Thank you so much. And thank you for that warm welcome. It was awesome.
Thank you so much. I know a lot of things that I want to discuss with you because the kind of work that you have done, too inspiring and too emotional, to be honest. Because sometimes when I have been seeing couple of your work, on videos and things like that, it is too emotional for me, and also it is not that easy to do that work. Right. So I really definitely want to understand how your emotions, how do you control your emotions, and how strong that you are there, and you bring in that kind of vibe when you are in that environment. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Done.
Cool. Thank you. Firstly, I know you started your journey in a corporate world. Okay.
Yeah.
With good salary, corporate luxury, and the comfort zone and all those 9 to 5 jobs, Saturday, Sunday, you're off, then have your own life. Okay.
Right.
From that, what you are today, you've given up quite a lot of things, but that was your passion. Right. I want to understand what made you move into this industry, living all those luxury and good money, big fat money, I must say. Right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So way back, probably when I started my journey, I started with IBM, and I still remember we used to volunteer during weekends. So I used to read books for visually impaired, spent some time with underprivileged children, slowly started going to old age homes.
Nice.
While all this was happening, I realized weekend volunteering is not enough. Out of 7 days, you're spending 2 days, and you're like, 2 दिन में क्या होगा? And that was when I just felt, can I actually move full time to social sector? But that's a big decision, right?
Correct.
So I just went to my parents, and I was like, hey, I don't feel like I have to continue in corporate world, because somewhere I feel my passion is in social sector. So can I move full time?
Okay.
And without any second thought, they said, do what you like.
That's
And
very
probably
nice.
that one thought of do what you like made my decision quite easy. I just went back, put my papers, and it's been almost, like, I remember from June 2006 till date, amazing journey, all the days filled with lot of impact stories and all. So always feel that was the best decision of my life.
Right. But somewhere did you feel while taking of this decision, right? Your friends, your family,
Yeah.
did they actually question you, Prarthana? You're doing a mess. Did you really think how the future would be?
There were a lot of
Yeah.
people who said, you're not moving from IBM to join another corporate, another competitor, but here you're joining something which is like the whole new sector, and that too basis on volunteering, and you don't know how the sector is.
Exactly.
There was someone who was not even my manager who called me and who said, Prarthana, social sector is not as it looks like. There's a lot of politics there, and maybe tomorrow you just feel ki, why did I take this decision? If at all at any stage you feel you have that thought, why did I join social
this.
sector, please come back, we will keep your position open. And probably that sentence or that quote was almost 18 years back, and I didn't feel even one single day of regret.
That's very nice. But did you even, somewhere have that fear? Okay, how am I going to manage this? Because this is not something,
Yeah.
you can do it as an individual. You need really a strong army. And to do that kind of nature of work, mentally you need to be prepared. Physically you
Yeah.
need to be prepared.
Yeah.
Plus somebody needs to be there who can give you some money. See,
Yeah.
usually when you want to serve somebody,
Right.
you really need some
Right,
kind
right,
of,
right.
funds to say, okay, I have, okay, if you're earning, then it's a different story. Okay, fine, as a 10% or 15% I
Correct.
want to save from my salary, and then do the social service. But when you're not having any income, no earnings, but you
Right.
really want to get into that field right now, how did you feel? Some part of time did you fear, how am I going to be?
I probably think I didn't have that fear because my family was quite supportive. My siblings were quite supportive. I was staying with my sister's house. My brother used to, in between support me. Parents were anyways like, do what you like. So probably that initial phase was easy because I had that good ecosystem who said like, you know, do what you like and we are with you. And later I though proudly used to say I get paid for doing good work, because I'm getting a earning not as much as the corporate world, but then at least I'm able to
Normal
live
lifestyle
a normal
should be
life.
good.
And
That is very nice.
yeah, and since the beginning, anyways, I didn't have that much of craze for like, you know, spending money, and also I think that way everything went on well.
Very nice. I think because your parents also come with that strong values.
Yeah.
You know, mother
Yeah.
being a teacher,
Yeah.
and dad being a musician, and also an author. I think that gave you a strong
Yeah.
foundation as well.
Yeah.
I want to understand more about how your childhood was, especially because somebody coming in from Dandeli. Dandeli
Yeah.
is a place, beautiful
Yeah,
place.
it's a-
more environmental.
Right.
You know, falls, waters, and all those. I want to understand about a little bit about your childhood journey.
Right. Yeah. So I think almost 19 years in Dandeli, beautiful place surrounded by forest, river. Now though it's quite famous, wildlife sanctuary and all the resorts and all. But for us, we have grown up there, right? And probably our life was quite simple. There were no, quite simple in terms of like you're having a good childhood with parents being like, you know, mother is a teacher who's like, you're seeing her doing that job, you're seeing her like her students are appreciating her work. She's the teacher who has made me what I am today. At other end, I have seen my dad. He was a research manager, plus he wrote books on Vedic mathematics. Plus he was a born musician. So somewhere probably the kind of support they gave, even their parents, probably they were freedom fighters and always done good work. So I used to end up like, you know, during my holidays I used to go with my grandpa to our farm, and I used to see how he used to support all the local schools, children.
That's
He
very
used to
nice.
go
Okay.
spend time with the children there. And I still remember a couple of years back when I had gone to him with one of the school. So I used to write him letters from, I think when I was in first standard or second standard.
To
And
grandfather,
then
is
to
it?
my grandfather.
Okay.
And I used to wait for his letters. So when I write 5 to 10 letters, I was like, you know, okay, now I'll get one letter from my grandpa, and that used to be my like reward. And I still remember I went to the school, government school, and there were a lot of girls who came, and they were like, hi akka, and my grandpa says, she is my granddaughter Prarthana. And at one stretch all of them said, the letter akka.
Oh.
And that's how I realized what he used to do is like in letters I used to write some thoughts and all of that, because I just wanted to fill my letter like, you know, saying this is happening,
All
that's
emotions
happening,
putting
all
into the
emotions
letter.
put
Okay.
together. Plus I would so my mother was into spirituality, so we had a lot of books there, so I used to write some thoughts and send him. And he used to actually teach English to those students, and he used to read my letters to them. So
okay.
somewhere you don't even realize at times, like, you know, small little things, how they are imbibed in you or how they become part of your life. So probably that support or that passion was already there in my parents, grandparents,
in
and it has just come in.
In you.
We never give it a thought, but then it's just in you from
Right, maybe
your
from the
ancestors.
ancestors and all.
Yeah.
I think that's why when you also thought that I want to get into more into the social
Yeah.
life and things like that.
Yeah.
Your parents did not hesitate because
Yeah.
that has come from their parents.
Yeah, they were
Right.
never like, you know, you have to do engineering, medical. I remember 10th standard was done and I didn't. So my whole family is from science background.
Okay.
Probably I am the only one who has changed the route. And the day my science exam was over, I was like, oh, my life is, you know, sorted. So after that, there were 2-3 exams, and I was going and playing and saying like, okay, now science is gone from my life. And I took commerce, and I still remember they didn't even question like, why are you taking commerce? You know, your siblings are doing the engineering, like, you know, do something better. At every step they have just supported us, all my siblings. Also,
I think
yeah.
these are the basic values that you have actually
Yeah.
inculcated from
Yeah.
your parents, right?
Yeah.
What was the best lessons that you've learned from your parents? Because mother purely from a spiritual
Right,
background, dad
right.
from
Yeah.
strong, because from the grandfather to father, I'm sure with that
Yeah.
kind of strong background. What are the best lessons that you've learned from them?
Probably at times they say, I know they say when you're doing something, your left hand shouldn't know what your right
What you're
hand
doing
is
right hand,
doing.
ಎಡಗೈನಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡೋದನ್ನ ಬಲಗೈನಲ್ಲಿ
Correct.
ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ
So
ಹೇಳೋದು.
that is something I have seen my parents doing. As in, you would not even know they have done something good. But at the same time, when my mom was into spirituality, she used to go and spread awareness like anything. Shamelessly going out talking about, like, encouraging people to become spiritual. So somewhere probably when I have been in the social sector, I shamelessly talk about the good work.
Okay.
Not because I am doing good, but because there are thousands of people out there who need our support.
Correct.
Right? So many a times you feel like, I remember initial, and this was those initial days when I moved from corporate world to social sector, or even when I was volunteering. I just casually went to office one day and my manager asked me, "Hey, I heard you read books for blind." I was like, that proud feeling was there, but I was like, yeah, why don't you talk about it to people around you? And I was like, why do I have to talk about me reading books for blind? I said, no, people will feel like, I'm just wanting to say I'm doing good. I said, no, I'm not going to do that. And he just left with one sentence: anytime you feel you want to share, please do feel free to. I was like, okay. Next day, weekend, so I go to teach my student Suresh, who is blind, and he says, "Ma'am, you teach me accounts." So that little proud feeling, oh wow, yes Suresh. Ma'am, you also read sometimes that marketing management book? I was like, oh my god, I read two books. I was like, yeah Suresh. Ma'am, what about economics? What about stats? And what about business communication? And that was the day I realized it is not because I am doing good I have to talk about it, but because there are thousands of Suresh who will need help.
Need help, very
And
right.
since that day till today, I have got title Spam Queen for good, which means I will keep posting thousands of requirements that are going around, whether it is blood requirement, volunteering requirement, and I've seen things working out also.
That's
People
very
getting
nice.
support. So
I think adding to that point, of late people, started feeling that, there are sometimes people misuse on these things,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
also the perception from the people, thought process has changed.
Yeah.
They're like, people want to publicize what they are doing just to position themselves.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
but they don't realize that it is just not positioning themselves, it is to bring awareness.
True.
There is a
True.
lot of difference of bringing, marketing themselves or branding themselves
Yeah.
than bringing in awareness.
True.
Okay, just to give you an example, post prior to COVID. Okay, so I was also a part of one of the NGOs. So we
Okay.
had a concept where we will start distributing toys to all the
Wow.
unprivileged
Children.
slums and
Yeah.
things like that. Okay, so whenever I posted for some funds and all, people never responded. What, chumma, why waste money? We don't know where the money is going.
Yeah.
Then some ways, little strategy I changed, because I wanted to start building in some funds for that. So I live in a big community where there are close to around 375 houses.
Okay.
Okay, so every weekends what I started a small home kitchen called
Oh, wow.
Mother's Kitchen.
Huh.
I started selling idlis and dosas.
Wow.
Okay, and it was a huge success because it is homemade.
Wow.
Okay, and from within the community.
Huh.
And also I'm a pretty good cook, so that also worked out very well for
We'll
me.
catch up after this for lunch.
Okay, that is when I started getting more orders. And what I did, from the money that I used to get from those breakfast this thing, I started sharing that money to this NGO for a cause, for buying toys or
Right.
some biscuits or some snacks when we go for these events. Okay, post that I used to take pictures and started posting it in the group.
Wow.
That is when people started realizing, and I started
it is
getting
genuine.
it is see that
Yeah.
money is actually getting used in a different place. Okay, first time when I did this, I just got only 10 orders. Believe me or not, after I started posting these pictures, I used to work in the kitchen at least till 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow.
And morning 5 o'clock I used to start my breakfast. 7 o'clock I used to ensure the supply goes.
Too good.
right? Then COVID started, and then we stopped and
Right,
things. So I
right.
think than branding, the awareness to people is
Correct,
more important.
Correct.
How they
correct.
perceive and things like that. So usually any ads being posted and things making money types, why not they change their thought process there? Okay, they are advertising these things for some awareness. So if they know somebody
No,
who needs it,
and
go
to
for it.
add, Shalini, you would never know how it would impact someone's life.
Exactly.
I still remember one day I get called from one of my friends, Shankar, who's visually impaired and who has half hands.
Hmm.
Okay, now he calls me. He's a very good techie.
Hmm.
Now he calls me at night 10:30, and I was like, "Is everything okay, Shankar? Do you need any help?" And he said, "Ma'am, one of my friend is crying for past 1 hour, and tomorrow he's also blind. Tomorrow morning 9 o'clock is his exam, and the scribe has dropped out. Now scribe is a person who writes exam for visually impaired,
Oh, okay.
right?
Hmm.
And the person who was going to come there has dropped out.
Oh.
So I said, Shankar, and this is like almost 7-8 years back. So I said, don't worry, we will find someone. Then he said, ma'am, you are in Bangalore, but this person who needs help is in Bagalkot, which is almost overnight journey.
Hmm.
So I said, okay, let's try. And then he said, ma'am, also if you can find someone who can speak in local language, it might be helpful because he's already in tears.
Oh.
So someone who he will find it comfortable. So I was like, okay, let me try. Now night 10:30 you have to find a volunteer in Bagalkot who can also speak Kannada. Right, so I said, let me post on my social media. So I posted on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and you won't believe, within 5 minutes
Hmm.
I had 3 volunteers from my friend list who responded saying, I am in Bagalkot,
How nice.
right, and I will go and write exam, don't worry.
Hmm.
And not just if they have more exam, you just tell me.
Huh.
So we called this person, we said, don't cry, not just tomorrow, you have 5 exams, all your 5 exams are taken care
That's
of.
amazing. Huh.
That ended there. And a couple of years back we were doing something called as Global Accessibility Awareness Day.
Hmm.
And this was in one of the corporate,
Hmm.
and we had invited corporate leaders.
Hmm.
Now in front of me there are 50 corporate leaders, and this team who hosted us,
Hmm.
they came and they said, hey Prarthana, meet Chandru, he's visually impaired, he's joined our HR team, and he was happy you're doing this Global Accessibility Awareness Day, can you give him 5 minutes to talk to people?
Okay.
And I said, yeah. So I did a quick mobility. After so many steps, people are sitting, and this is where you will sit, and this is where I am, and this is my team. And if you need any help, let me know. I'm Prarthana from Giftable. A sudden silence for 10 seconds. And I was like, Chandru, do you need any help? And he said, ma'am, you're Prarthana from Giftable. I said, yeah, if anything negative, let's meet outside. And then he said, ma'am, you know what? 2 years back, night 10:30, I was crying because I did not have a scribe. You helped me with the scribe. I passed that exam with distinction. And today here I am working in HR department.
Oh my God.
I did not go and write exam, but that one post, getting 3-4 volunteers to support him, changed his complete life. Right? He said, if you wouldn't have arranged a scribe then, probably I would have skipped my exam, I would have failed, you wouldn't see me here.
Same here. My God, honestly, I'm getting goosebumps. Honestly, I'm getting goosebumps listening to this. See how the life changes with just one small of awareness.
Yeah.
I think it's very important. It is okay, let people
Yeah,
not
you
take
have like what 5,000-6,000 friends. Out of that 1,000 might ignore your message.
It's
But
okay.
even if 10 people see and come ahead, you have changed someone's
Correct.
life.
Even 10 people change, okay, fine, let me do something.
Exactly.
From their
That
side, even
thought
around 1 or
process.
2 people come for help, extending their hands.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is really giving me goosebumps listening to this story. Tears, honestly. But, moving from finance, department you worked in strongly, and then, see, getting into social servicing is not easy, to be honest.
Yeah.
You need to be emotionally very strong. See, like example, when you're telling me this, honestly, I have tears.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to be strong enough because you see different kind of people,
Yeah.
different kind of
Yeah.
stories in their life. Okay, and also when you spend more time with them, you come home, you're in the same thought. Okay, so usually anytime, like, it is a human psychology that you enjoy something or you feel something, at least that emotions carries with you for at least a day or so.
True.
Correct.
True.
How would you come over those and okay, fine, this is done today, we are done with the day. Next day you have
Yeah.
something else again to
Yeah.
do. You have to inspire yourself, change your emotions, and also give time for your family. Correct? How strong have you been, or how have you prepared yourself to be that strong? Because I have seen wherever that you've gone,
Right.
you've always built that spark and the
True.
vibe you create there. Okay, how have you managed those?
Probably over years it's just built in, because today when you're asking, I'm just thinking about it. I never even thought about gave it a thought to that. Probably just over years you start working, you start seeing impact around, at the same time you see those challenges on ground, and it becomes part of your life. And if I keep on getting stuck ki are ye kyun hua, idya kai tu, right, then I won't be able to overcome that situation. I have to just move on. Now, simple thing like yesterday we were volunteering at this place called Karunashraya. It's a cancer hospice home. Now, here are patients who are in their final stage. So
Okay,
they
so
admit
that
paper
center has only people who are at
only
the final
in the
stage?
final stage. So yesterday even I got to know that the probably average life of people who are there must be 10 to 15 days max. So there are people who would have entered 0 day gone, or might have lived for 15 days. Now I still remember, I have a lot of stories from there, because almost 17 years back I still remember we started going to that place. The idea was not for the patients, but for caretakers who see at least
Every day.
2-3 deaths every day. So we said, let's give them break.
Hmm.
And I still remember, just I'll tell you the latest one. Just last Diwali we were there, and there was a young lady who was singing song, and after a while we all loved, we all went, like, got engrossed in her song, and we all just started screaming once more, once more, once more. Now I'll tell you the impact of this once more, which the team shared yesterday. They said after the song was over, she went to her room with her mom. She was not able to sit for long, so she went to her room, and she was having that bad phase in her life. She was going to lose her life. Two, there were a lot of hardships in her married life, and somewhere she was in one worry stage where she was like, nobody appreciates me in my life. But she came back and she said to her mom, this is the first time people have appreciated my song,
How nice.
appreciated me for who I am.
Hmm.
And probably she died peacefully. Now that 1 minute of once more has created so much impact, and this is just the latest one. 13-14 years back, I remember when we started, it was just me, my dad, 2-3 more volunteers who went there.
Oh, that also, family also accompanied
Yeah.
you for all
So
the
wherever
events.
I'm going,
Oh,
like,
so
everyone
beautiful.
knows, okay, he's your dad, he will volunteer with you, and he will come with his Casio. So he was playing music, and there were a lot of patients who were listening to his music and all. And it started with 6 volunteers. Today it is 17 years. Every Diwali, there are 100 plus volunteers who come there. There's a nice,
Amazing.
beautiful lake surrounding which all volunteers, all caretakers, everyone is there. And I remember this almost 15 years back, Diwali, where I said, okay, shake your right hand, left hand. And that was the time when there were few deaf volunteers who had come.
Oh,
And
okay.
I said, okay, now we have to get in energy. So shake your right hand, left hand, scream 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I saw few deaf saying, we can't scream because, we can't hear and speak, but we will do this. There are people on wheelchair who are volunteering who said, okay, I can't shake my bum and shake my legs, but then we will scream numbers. And there were few patients who could come. There were caretakers, volunteers. So there was one energy around, and I said, do whatever is possible. And there was one boy, 23-year young boy, on the stretcher, and he was trying to do whatever possible, and then he raises his hand and says, I want to sing a song in Kannada.
Okay.
Okay, so we went with the mic, and we held the mic. He completed the whole song. While he was singing, we realized he had throat cancer. He completed the whole song, and all volunteers there, all people started clapping. So there was imagine hundreds of people listening to your song, and
And
then
you
there is clap, and there was one smile on his face saying, I sang this song with mic in front of me and hundreds of people
listening and
clapping.
clapping for it.
1 week later I go there and I was like, hey, that boy who sang song that day, can I go and meet him? They said, ma'am, you can, but you know what, today might be his last day. And I said, that's okay, I want to meet him. And after that I'm thinking, why did I do that? Like, why do I have to just go and meet him? But in my head there were thoughts running like, should I say hi, hello, should I raise my hand? I reach his ward, I see him lying on the deathbed. His hand size was half of my hand size, and I was like, okay, let me say hi. And even before my hand went up, with the smile on his face, he did this.
Oh God.
The 1 minute activity that we had done. They have a nice tagline which says, you cannot add days to their life, but you can always add life to their days.
Oh my God. Too good.
And from that day I realized, like, sometimes we take things for granted, but if in 1 minute, one energizer, I can make so much of difference, start thinking each one of us
Then
giving
giving-
it time.
Right.
What
Time
kind
never
of change?
comes, no?
Yeah.
I think I've heard few people saying, I'm literally getting too emotional, honestly. Okay. Time is very precious. You don't know what happens next moment.
Yeah.
Leave the moment and see what is that best you can do for yourself.
True.
Okay. It's just not only being selfish that you're happy, you're satisfying yourself. Okay. But if you have bought a smile in somebody's face,
Yeah.
you sort it.
Yeah. Yesterday with team, I was volunteering. We all were going around and there were like 30-35 team members volunteering. Some are cleaning, some are cutting vegetables. And I was feeling good. These are the team members who work only 24/7 on cause of disability. But today they are working for cancer cause. And they were like, people who have been working with Karuna Chef for ages, who are going around, and so whenever I go there, they just call me Diwali Akka, because it's like Diwali is Prarthana. So I'm going around, there comes gardener, and he tells my team, she's our Diwali Akka. And I was like, as in, I never realized the impact that one day of Diwali would have had on each one of them, including the staff. The nurses learned sign language yesterday, and they said,
Oh, wow.
maybe tomorrow we may have a guest
Guess
who is deaf.
Yeah, you're right.
And the basic sign language can help us. So
I'm actually surprised to hear that, the deaf people also volunteer themselves.
They
Because
do.
because if you see, most of them, they feel that they are people with disability. But
Yeah.
see, they volunteering to inspire somebody's life
Yeah,
is
yeah.
really great.
So yesterday we had like people who were on wheelchair, people who were blind, people who were with low vision, people who were deaf, and people who weren't with disabilities. But it was, they were there. They were like, and irrespective of disability, like sometimes we have to remind them, hey, you have disability.
Yeah, I know. I saw one of
Yeah.
your video yesterday. The kind of the dance that they were there doing.
Yeah.
And, the way they were just living that moment. See,
Correct.
today's people they have everything.
Yeah.
They have a good lifestyle, and
Yeah.
good money is there. Everything is fine. All the six senses are working. Are they really happy?
Yeah.
No, they don't.
Yeah, and at the end of this, all of this you're doing is for your happiness.
Happiness. When I was just talking to one of my friend couple of days back. Okay, he's literally become hefty and things like that. I said, what's wrong with you? You're not even taking care of yourself. He says, I have no time. I'm working so hard for money. I said, will you be there to enjoy this money what you're earning today?
Right.
What's the point of you killing of your own self and earning money for whom you're actually doing it?
True.
Yes
Yeah,
or
that's
no?
true. Yeah.
Right? Then why do you have to work hard when you're not living your life? People today talk about work-life balance. What do they actually mean by work-life balance? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're actually killing yourself. You're harming your own self, going and sitting and working for somebody,
Right.
or working for money. Clear? When that hard work, what you do is not taking care of your own self. What's the point?
Yeah.
We're not going to take that luxury. We're not taking that
Exactly.
Mercedes Benz. We are not taking that money that we work. We are taking those memories. the time that you spent with your loved ones.
Yeah. True.
Right?
True.
So, thoughts.
No, that's true. And I think at times we have to just take break and reflect on what am I doing. So for past couple of years, what I've started doing is writing love letter to myself once a year.
How nice. Really?
You know, first time I wrote, I was like, where do I start? And after that, 2 page ho gaya, and I was like, where do I stop? Yeah, you know, sometimes you should.
Self-love is so important.
Self-love is important, and also loving what you do. So
Right.
do what you like what you do. So
Adding to that point, Prarthana, honestly, being a single parent and things, okay, I've never had gifts and surprises, celebrations as a human, which I will definitely expect. But every year for Valentine's Day, I always ensure I give something for myself. Because
wow.
first thing, love myself. And then I can
have to
give love to
myself.
others. Yes. Right. No, sometimes, you know, I see, like, as you said, there are some of the, you know, people with disability who voluntarily want to come and, you know, do service and bring awareness to people. But of late, few people just to post for the sake of, you know, Instagram and Facebook, they just want to volunteer, right? They don't want to bring awareness. Right. So how do you tell those people, how do you encourage those people that don't do it for the sake of doing it? Come with one reason, come with a cause, and then you know, serve people. How do you tell that, you know, to people, you know,
right,
come over with that mindset?
I think whichever organization gets volunteers, it's important to do volunteer orientation. That's very important. You know, just covering the ethics of volunteering. You know, many a times posting is okay. I myself do lot of posts about volunteering, different things. But at times, like you said, it is like, you know, I volunteer because I want to post. Even then it is okay, because you're changing someone's you know, life or making someone smile. But it's important that whatever work you're doing on ground, do it with full passion. That's important. Sometimes covering ethics of volunteering is important, because
Right.
many a times what happens is, when I'm coming and volunteering, say for example, I'm volunteering for children, and seeing kids, I get excited, and I will, like, you know, I'll just over commit the child, saying, oh Magu, nan prati vara bartini, I'm going to come every week, I'm going to spend time with you, without even realizing that I am going back, I have my own life, I forget about the child.
Yeah.
But the child is expecting,
Expecting
oh,
the
akka
commitment.
ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಅಲ್ವಾ,
ಬರ್ತೀನಿ
next
ಅಂತ.
ವಾರ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ.
Correct.
And I will not even know how emotionally that child is going down.
Yes, you're
right?
right.
So at time, communication, commitment, all these things needs to be covered. So
Covered.
it is up to the organization, whether it is Giftable or any other organization, a quick orientation to volunteers is very important.
And also sometimes, see, volunteering is something different.
Correct.
But for this, don't come for the sake of coming.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Full-heartedly you need to come. I
Yes.
think that lesson needs to be taught from home.
Correct.
Because
Correct.
because if you have to give you one example, you know, most of us right now have
Yeah.
single child,
Yeah.
don't come with, you
Yeah.
know, 2 kids
Yeah.
and all those. From home itself, don't you think it is important for them to start teaching what is caring, what is sharing?
Yeah. It is.
Right?
It is. Yeah.
Just to give you one example, I just thought, you know, mind, I should be sharing this. See, my daughter, you know, she's single child, right? So she never had that habit of sharing, caring, and all those. Okay, I've always given her lessons, saying that whenever that you're going out or something, okay, buy something for somebody.
That's so nice.
All right. So once, I just want to say this one, you know, incident. What happened? She'd been to one of the supermarket.
Okay.
Okay, so she bought some. She'd been to buy something. So she saw one of the granny sitting outside. She said, "Okay, let me buy some apples for her." She bought 2 apples. She went and gave to that grandmother. She said, "I don't want apple." She said, "It's very good for your health. Please eat. You're getting old." Then she just said, "I don't have teeth. How will I eat apple?" Okay, this girl was like, "Mama, I didn't know what to do.
Correct.
I didn't know what I have to buy to her." So I got this back home. Then she went back. Then she said, "Will you be able to eat bananas, ripe ones?" She says, "Yes." Then she went back to supermarket,
That's
got
so
those
nice.
bananas
Yeah.
and all.
Yeah.
So I think the teaching has to come from their home, because every
Yeah.
time. And also, why I'm bringing this point is because home is the first school and mother is the first teacher for all of us.
True.
Right?
True.
And there are people who comes with people with disability, especially when they are deaf.
Yeah.
Okay, how do they manage with their families? Because when they have their family, their kids,
Correct.
how are they going to communicate with them? How are they going to express their emotions to the kids? And
Right.
how will kids understand those emotions? How do they talk? How are they brought up actually? Have you seen any of these cases like this?
Many of them. In fact, I'll take this in two parts. So first, you said it so right. It has to start from home, and it has to start very young. Now I know my niece and nephews, whether it is Pratik's sister's son or my sister and brother's children. We make sure, like, whenever we are volunteering, and if they could come. I still remember my niece, she was, I think, 4 or 5, and I had taught her alphabets in sign language, and we used to have this deaf club
Okay.
where there are a lot of deaf coming in, and we are teaching them
Oh,
something.
you have that kind of communities and
Yes,
clubs,
yes,
is
yes.
it?
So we
Wow,
have deaf
interesting.
club, vision club for blind,
Huh.
and I still remember we had almost 80 deaf come in for that
Oh.
event, and I just took a chair and I said, Aditi, stand on the chair and tell your name. So she said, my name is Aditi, Aditi. And the kind of, that environment got so much of positive energy, and everyone was like, is she deaf? And I was like, no, she can hear. And she learned because she saw me volunteering, so she learned. And the kind of energy, oh my god, a 5-year-old signing her name to all of us, suddenly that thing